Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Insurance Tale. I'm the mayor, Heath Shearon, and the host of this podcast. Guys, I'm glad that you are here hanging out with us today because I've got a new friend who's going to revolutionize. That's hard for me to say. The industry and that she's working in, and she's going to just change the game. This company is brilliant, and I can't wait for you to hear about it. Before I do, I want you to know that Smart Choice recently reached over 10,000 independent agencies. They've recently surpassed $11 billion in written premium. They have over 120 carriers. They have broker markets. They have MGA markets. They've got specialty markets, hard to place stuff. They've got standard markets. They got it all. And agency-friendly contracts, easy exit clauses, everything you need. If you're thinking about a network for your agency, look no further than Smart Choice. It's not going to hurt you. Reach out, let them know that I sent you. You'll be glad you did. Not for any other reason than just to see what's out there. Also, my friends over at Canopy Connect, your one-click solution to getting those deck pages you need to quote your prospect. Guys, I'm telling you right now, they should definitely be an integral part of your tech stack. Because not only do they help you with your client experience, they also help with you, your processes, your procedures, and your workflows within your staff. They're just a game changer, and I don't think that they've even scratched the surface of what all they can do with this technology. And so they start off in personal lines, and then they've expanded to referral partners. Now they've expanded into commercial lines and loss runs, and who knows what's next for Tolga and his team. Oh my gosh. And then he brought in Ray recently, who's phenomenal. If you haven't met him in a conference, go find him. Look for the purple shirt, probably. Dude, they're just doing big things. Use Canopy/Heath. Lastly, I got to talk to you about another very important sponsor, which is Olde School Marketing. OLDE School Marketing. Rusty and his team do a phenomenal job. Guys, take your hands off the wheel of the marketing and the lead generation and let them take care of it. They have a new school approach to an old school way of doing things with digital, with direct, and with email marketing, all the above. They have figured it out. You look for that secret sauce, they got it. OLDEschoolmarketing.com. Check it out. Make sure you tell them what we sent you and ask, I think it's Town 10, it might be, and you get a discount, 10% discount. You're going to be so happy you did. They're so smart. Let me get out of the way because I've got to introduce you to my friend, Katie Wexler. She is awesome. And the company she's created out of a need that she saw, her and her husband saw, Jason and the team over there, and they're already expanding. They brought in Bridget Zoller. Some of you heard her on the podcast before. I can't wait, dude. You got to hear this. It's so good. So let's dive into this conversation. Katie Wexler, what's going on, sis? How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am good. I'm loving this background you got going on here.
Thank you.
Coming in from outer space.
Yes, we're here to change the universe.
Wow, change the universe. I dig it. Now, where are you at right now? Are you in California? Is that where Bridget's at too?
Yes.
You get to see her a lot?
Yes. We're neighbors. So we get to see each other a lot in work and personal life, which is great.
There you go. Bridget, for those who mentioned Bridget, go back to listen to an episode where she was in there, crushed it, did a great job. And I love that she introduced us so that we could have this conversation. So shout out to Bridget. I know secretly she's sitting next to you, but for those that don't know that, I had to give a shout out. Bridget's awesome. So do me a favor. Let's before we get into all the good stuff, let's start off with even better stuff. Let me hear a little bit about Katie Wexler. Tell me, go back down memory lane as far as you want to, lead me up to where you are now.
Yeah. So funny, I have a hilarious career path. I started as a locations manager in Los Angeles doing commercials and films, a teamster. I was a teamster for a hot minute, finding locations for films and TV, movie, and commercials. I was one of the location managers on The Biggest Loser for their marathon that they ran.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah. And then I transferred to NYU from UCLA. So I changed my trajectory, my major into visual effects and animation, finished that, met my husband there, Jason Wexler, shout out to him. I'm So we met there. I got a job out of college at CBS Sports doing motion graphics. So I did Super Bowls, CBS football or NFL, SEC, March Madness was a big one for us. Worked hard at that with long, crushing hours. We decided to move to California. Fox Sports had some opportunities. Moved back to California, where I'm from. Worked in the industry for a little while. Jason has been in the insurance industry for 20 years, and he convinced me that it's better to be in insurance than in Hollywood. So I ended up getting my insurance license, and he had this idea to start a trucking MGA. He came from the underwriting background. He had a great idea. And I helped launch that. So we are the founders of CoverWhale with our tech partner, Dan Abramson. He was the tech side. We were, the insurance underwriting side and broker side. And we built that up for a couple of years from an idea to a pretty prominent MGA in this space. We decided to go a different direction and take an early exit and focus on family and life and new ideas. And in that time frame, when we were taking that exit, I came up with the idea with premium financing being a really underserved market in the insurance area. While every retail broker knows of it, it's kind of an antiquated industry. Everybody has multiple carriers or multiple MGAs or multiple wholesalers or that they work with, but nobody has a ton of multiple premium finance companies that they work with. And part of that was their tech. So sitting back with my thinking cap on, I realized that we needed to innovate this space. And that's where I started with coming up with the premium finance marketplace that we created, which is Pavo Insurance Solutions.
So I didn't know some of this other stuff about you, like starting off in TV and film and NFL and SEC. Like, we're on the wrong podcast. I could have gotten into all kinds of sports stuff with you, man. That's awesome.
We have some funny stories from back then, but that is a young person's world, working those
I bet
14-hour shifts in the dark dungeon of a graphics studio.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm still interested to know how, world you go from that to financing and to creating a marketplace for financing. And so
I had a 1-year-old, and
okay,
I probably do the graphics, driving to LA, working 14-hour shifts. So I was kind of a stay-at-home mom for a hot minute, which was really nice. And Jason had an idea, and he said, listen, I want to build this and I need your help. And so I studied hard for the California insurance broker test, took it, 7 months pregnant with my second child.
Wow.
Passed. And then we created the entity of CoverWhale. In the meantime, Jason and Dan were working through the rating plans and the tech and building novel tech at the time, the rate quote bind system of an MGA. And I hopped in and was like, how can I help? And
did you immediately jump in with an interest in the finance side or in the accounting side of it, or
so
more of
I started off with the broker
marketing
side, right?
or
Relationships, marketing, HR. I mean, we were a startup of 3, grew to 4 and 5. Bridget was our second employee rather than a founder. And then we kept growing. So I actually had a lot of hats over there at CoverWhale. I think I had 5 different signatures at one point in my email.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So yeah. And I've always been kind of a go-getter and a person that can really malleable in my life. Right. So I can really pick up anything and try to work my hardest at it.
Look at you, malleable. That's a word we don't use in Arkansas. So you may have to break that down for me. I'm just kidding. Malleable. Anyhow, no, I like that. And so as you went through your journey there, and we don't have to camp there very long, but I guess you saw a need while you were there for the financing, and because working with truckers, working in that trucking industry, there had to have been some pitfalls and some things that you saw there. Like, wait a minute, there's a bigger thing here that we could be involved in.
Yeah. So I definitely learned everything I know about financing, or started knowing everything I know there. Jason was an underwriter. He had never even really heard of premium finance. He worked for big carriers. They don't care how it's paid. They just want it paid. So it was a learning experience. We worked with Capital Premium Finance over there, and they were just an unbelievable team of people helping us through the process. And they had some pretty good tech. We integrated their APIs right away. We learned about it. What I learned heavily in the trucking space is they're on the road a lot, and they're not getting any notices that they missed a payment or something bounced, or they need help sometimes. Like, they got to deliver this load before they can make that payment. And there's a serious need for just more digital reach out and just more help in general around that space in premium financing. So I learned a ton there. And in my 6 months of off time after we took our exit, Jason and I kind of sat there and we're like, okay, what's our next step? What's our next step? What are we going to build next? And I really felt like financing was a cool space nobody's gotten into.
Let me back up a minute. When you say what's next, it sounds like you already had what's next from an entrepreneurial standpoint. Like, what are we going to build next? It wasn't where we're going to look for another job, where we're going to apply for next. It was you're ready to create something else. So is that something inside of you, like innate? Like, are your parents entrepreneurs, or do you come from that building background? Like, where did
Me, no. My mom was a school teacher for 25 years, and my dad was in commercial construction. He's a sales guy and, commercial construction. Jason's mom is a stay-at-home mom, and his dad built and owns a chemical pharmaceutical company. So I guess a little bit of building, very different space. I think we dipped our toes in the startup world with CoverWhale, and we were just hungry for more.
So it's like a bug that just bites you, and it's like, okay, this is what I want to do. Like,
yes,
you knew from that point forward, once you saw that success and you saw, okay, we can do this, and you learned a lot, I'm sure.
Yes.
And okay, you're a relationships person, it sounds like, as well, from, early on, when you talked about coming in and you had a lot of different hats. Did you feel like throughout early on in your insurance career, before you got to Pavo, that you had built the right relationships to give you that confidence to move forward and being an entrepreneur again?
Yeah, I went to Insurtech Connect with an idea in August 2022, or I guess it was September 2022. I had already named the company. I had incorporated. I went with an idea, and I walked around by myself, talking to the different booths, talking to the different finance companies, talking to the different MGAs, talking to the carriers, anybody I could talk to the platforms, and said, this is my idea. Do you have the need for this? And it was like, where can I sign up? How can I sign up? And I was like, oh, well. Before
you even had the company on the ground, they were ready to go. Yeah, that's awesome.
To go. And I mean, I think testing that idea was super helpful for me.
Yeah, very smart.
The extra confidence to spend the money on a tech build, because tech is expensive to build. And you don't want to just throw hundreds of thousands of dollars at something if you're not sure that it's going to be successful.
100%. So walking around the showroom floor, so to speak, and talking to different vendors and just kind of gauging, because I guess if you would have walked around that day and you'd have heard 5 or 6 people say, no, not something we need, you could have been a whole different trajectory right now in a different place.
Yeah.
So Pavo is built kind of in your dreams right then and there. Like,
yeah, I think I would encourage anybody who has an idea to get out there and ask anybody that's in their path, like, hey, what do you think about this? Because it gave me the biggest boost. Like, I went home after those 3 days and immediately started building. Yeah. It was just like, okay, this is a dream and we're going to go for it.
You said you already had it named out, but Pavo is an interesting name. And I'm dying to tell the audience where that came from, the name Pavo.
So I wanted something memorable and easy to spell when you got to type it into it on your phone, and you got to make sure you're not missing any letters. And I love the universe. I love the stars. I love the sky. And so I was doing just some research on different constellations, just anything I could think of. And I found that in the Southern Hemisphere, there is a couple of constellations of birds. And one of them is the peacock. and it is named Pavo. And the symbolism of a peacock is really like new birth, growth, just abundance. And I felt like that should be my future, right? Growth and a new start. And I thought it was pretty. And I have goals someday to go to the Southern Hemisphere and see that constellation in the sky.
Yeah. That's awesome. So you didn't want to go with Peacock Insurance Solutions, but Pavo sounded better. I gotcha. Yeah. I think that's awesome. So, all right. I got to go back outside of insurance for a minute. In Arkansas, it was a big deal with this eclipse a few weeks or months ago or whatever. Yeah. Did you have any visibility of that in California, or did you go anywhere to see it? Or it was a total full eclipse. I mean, did you get a chance to see that?
We had a partial one, and to be honest, we forgot about it and sat in the office.
Oh my gosh. You can't tell me you love the stars and the constellations and the sun and the moon and not care about the eclipse.
We were building, growing. And to be fair, like in California, like it was cloudy and then it wasn't, and it was very partial. I think a couple years ago, we did see a full one. And I remember specifically as a child going to like a park. And I remember the park by my house overlooks the ocean. And I remember vividly sitting in the park watching this full eclipse happen.
That's crazy. Yeah, I was on the opposite end of that and thought this is going to be the biggest waste of time. And there was like droves of people that came to Arkansas in my hometown. And we had festivals and all kind like rednecks out in droves to see this thing. And it was exciting for us. And I literally, for that 3 minutes and 48 seconds, was probably the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. And wearing the glasses and looking like a moron. But to see that, anyway, it was unreal.
Yeah, a full eclipse, I would have been outside. I would have kept my kids home. I would have watched all the schools around here just kept them in for lunch. And
our kids were out for the whole day. I grilled burgers. I mean, of course, in Arkansas, you got to tailgate for anything. So we tailgated for the thing, and it was cool. Very cool.
I love that.
All right, I got to get back on track here. So you got me distracted, ADHD moments here. So Pavo, Peacock, you said you went back and started building. Like, what does that mean? Like, you hired developers, you hired people, you started building a network and building, or all of it? What did you?
I mean, really all of it. I started with, searching out some tech solutions. Obviously, I'm not a tech person, and in my last venture, we had a knowledgeable tech partner. I didn't have that. So I searched out, different avenues of building. I found, a tech team that I worked with. We worked with Fincher Consulting. They had a tech arm, really helped to take our vision and build it out, and worked with me. And we were a pretty good team. And then I was also building out the network, going out to the people that I had connected with at ITC, as well as anybody that would take a meeting with me, to tell them about
did you start with Capital? I mean,
so I had a great relationship with Ben Crowley over there at Capital. So I called him up and said, hey, I got this crazy idea. And he was like, let's go.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I started with them. And then just through connections, we were able to secure a few more partners. We work with Agile Premium Finance and Steps Financial. And then our latest partner is Go-To Premium Finance.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I've got, my wife and I have a relationship with Capital Premium Finance just because she runs an association, and they've been really good to us, and they always ran around our conference $2 bills and did the whole thing. And so, so that's really cool. So you had that relationship there, and you started there, and then you said, you've got several that you're working with. And so, I guess the biggest thing that you hear that you want to dispel the myth of is you're not a premium finance company.
No, we are.
Tell me what Pavo is. Describe to the audience, because they're thinking, another premium finance company. No, there's a lot of those that you love, that you support. Yeah. And you and I have talked about all of those, some of the names you already mentioned, and you support them in a way that's different than I've ever heard of. I don't know if it's out there yet. Pavo may be the first. So tell me exactly what Pavo is.
So we are technically the first premium finance marketplace for retail brokers, MGAs, wholesalers, and even carriers. We have 3 modes of access to us. We have a native API that can be built into any platform or system. where we can be at the point of quote or bind. So an MGA could place us in their platform. We are partnered with Deus Technologies, already integrated in their platform. So what we do there is we take all of the policy data in the back, take it into our hub, and then shoot it out to our finance partners, and then bring back 3 quotes and place it there at the point in their storefront. So as retail agents are in their binding business, they can put their down payment and get their premium finance right there at the point of checkout.
Wow. Okay, so that's a lot to unpack there. So your end user, the client you're going after is the retail agent, correct?
It's yes and no. I started this idea with MGAs. That's my background.
Okay. Yeah.
The idea was, knowing a lot of these policy management systems, and their tech pipeline is long. They have a lot of integrations they need to get done. They've got a lot of stuff that needs to get done. And integrating with finance companies isn't necessarily the easiest task. So I wanted to be that middleware where we could be the easy implementation into these platforms and be their kind of finance arm, and then go out and do the hard work of integrating with the finance companies.
MGAs. Okay, we'll go there then. I've been on that space. My brother's in that space. And so that is a challenge, though, when you've got, policy you got to get bound. And then I guess from there, though, is there some flexibility within the marketplace, or let's shout out Jason again, the broker enhancement technology,
yeah.
right? Let's make sure we get that right. So if they're going, is there some flexibility in there for like the adjustment within the rates or adjustment within the terms, all of that kind of stuff? Is that stuff, or are they still going to work with the finance company on that? Or are you going to be able to help with that area as well within your technology?
So we're helping with that within our technology. We set up specialized programs for the MGAs. So for a trucking MGA, we can come in and say, what are your pain points? Are your clients having a hard time with those heavy down payments, those 30% down payments? Or is it harder on the month to month? Can they get that down payment up front, and then the month to month they got to make sure loads are getting delivered to make sure that they can make that monthly payment? And they give us their pain point, and then we go back to our finance partners and say, here's the pain points they're having. Give us your best rates, their best this. Let's help this MGA out. And we do the same with the brokers, definitely with the brokers, but my original vision was the MGA model. So then we also then can do that with the brokers and go with them and create these specialized relationships with the finance companies. And because we have so many relationships, not just with multiple finance companies, but with a large, population, we are working in a kind of like a wholesaler. We're like a wholesaler of financing in that sense.
Yeah.
Now, and helping everybody. Therefore, we can create really cool, unique programs.
Yeah, where I think that where I'm fascinated with this right now in my head and my squirrel brain is, I'm thinking there's a lot of people involved. When you're talking about an MGA, which is already, a lot of people involved when they're working with brokers and carriers and things like that. Then you got all the finance people, and then you've got yourself. It's a marketplace. That's a lot of relationships to juggle. That's a lot of things to try to, make everybody talk to each other the right way and all of that. And so you had to get pretty creative in what you're doing at Pavo. And so could you walk me through how you can make, because in my brain, I'm already thinking, I'm confused already trying to figure that out. So how does Pavo, what is it doing to help with some of that and manage all those relationships and all of those transactions?
So, I think it's just trying to keeping it simple. I think when things get difficult is when we're back to the old paper, email, phone calls. I think keeping the technology as, nimble and, just easy is the best word. We're nimble, we're fast, we're simple. We need the data points from the policy that require to finance. And we are not trying to manipulate the finance companies or compete or make them compete against each other. That's actually a misconception with our marketplace. It's more about creating unique programs. The pie for premium financing, the amount of policies that need to be premium finance is huge. It's a $60 billion industry and growing. So the amount of opportunity out there for everyone to get a piece of that pie or a bite of the apple is there. So all we want to do is to create opportunity and access for everyone out there to be able to afford their insurance.
Okay. And so I know, being a former agency owner, a lot of times, and I've worked with a lot of agency owners, they want to do their own premium financing, or they want to have their own relationships there. Can you handle that situation, or can you work directly with retailers as well? Or
definitely. So one of our arms is we have a broker portal, what we call, where brokers can come in, access our premium finance marketplace, whether if they want to come out of their AMS, like we're working to maybe try to get into some AMSs at the same place. But as far as like the old school way of doing premium finance, as you probably remember, you log into your premium finance company, you type in the policy information, and they give you one quote. We do something similar with 3 quotes or more. We try to keep the number at 3. I think that's a really like psychologically a good number. It's not too much, it's not too little. So not only are you able to see get new premium finance quotes, we have an entire endorsement flow, as well as we do what we call cancellation prevention technology. So we are constantly like following your financing contracts. We're making sure that payments are made. If the payment is missed, we're contacting that insured you. If it's the MG that's our client, them. We want to have everybody in the line of this insured's finance agreement in the know to make sure that this insured doesn't cancel for non-payment.
I think you had several people maybe got in a wreck just now just because they heard cancellation prevention technology and got excited, because I think that's a huge problem, especially in trucking, but in any situation. And I'm assuming as of right now, I guess it doesn't really matter, but you guys are typically working with commercial clients, whether it's trucking or whatever. But, I know in the personal line space, there's a lot of that situation too with cancellation for non-pay. But sticking with, your bread and butter right now, and I'm guessing you guys are working with a lot of trucking MGAs right now and in the trucking space, but you will work in other spaces too right now, or just trucking?
So we can finance up to 100 different lines of
Oh, that's awesome.
Lines of business. We can do some personal lines. We can do like 90% of the commercial lines, I believe, are probably close to 100. So over 100 different lines of business we can work with. We can work with or finance. I think we could finance over 2,500 different carriers and over 6,000 different MGAs or wholesalers.
Okay, so talk to me about this cancellation prevention technology. That's a mouthful.
I used to call it a health check, but I think cancellation prevention technology sounds better.
Dude, it does. And it gets people excited because that is a huge pain point. So talk to me. Can you walk me through that a little bit, the cancellation prevention, without giving away secret sauce? But could you explain kind of what that is a little bit? And I think I can hear Bridget back there giggling, so it's making me laugh over here. I love you, Bridget.
Thank you, Mayor. We work with the finance companies, and whether in our own platform or the other platforms with webhooks and other things, we work with them to get real-time updates from them about, late payments, non-payment, missed down payment. There's multiple things of cancellation for non-payment. So we have real-time updates. We have specialized connections with them to be able to house that. And then our system takes that in and immediately has a network that it notifies to let everyone know, hey, Trucker Tommy missed their payment yesterday. We would like to let you know we've sent them an SMS or an email letting them know that here's a link for their payments. Also, we want to work with the truckers and different people like that. Like if they just can't make that payment because they have a load coming up that needs to be delivered, we want to work with them on that and help them. That if they just know they have an advocate here that can help them, that they won't have to miss that payment in the future.
Now, is there anything you guys are doing, leading up to that? Let's say a day or two before the payment's due if they haven't paid it yet, or only for triggering if they just missed the payment?
We could. We haven't done it yet.
Okay. But trigger,
it's right now. Everybody,
triggered.
I hate those text messages. You have an appointment tomorrow. You have an appointment tomorrow.
I get that.
Personally. But I think, we're a startup and we're willing to change and move with what is needed from our clients. And if it is important to our brokers, to our MJs, that we send out notices 3 days before, like, hey, don't forget to click this link and make sure your payments set up. We also want to help set up, automatic payments so people don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
That's a
And
big
so
one.
what's been the response so far with the cancellation prevent, the CPT, whatever you call it,
I
the
like it.
cancellation prevention?
Yeah,
I mean, what's been the response so far? Because that's got to be getting good response.
yes. I mean, the second we mention it, it's like, where do we sign on the dotted line to start? How do we do this? It's a lot of problems. People have big problems with cancellations, and I know, being a former MGA owner, that is horrible on the books when you have to cancel, reissue, and then the finance companies, it's a whole mess. And when the finance companies heard us say, hey, we want to do this, let's figure it out, they were like on board. I mean, they don't mind late fees, but everybody gets in trouble when there's cancellations.
Yeah. So when you say you work with them, maybe they have a load, you mentioned some scenarios there. What does some of that look like? Yeah.
We have, really great relationships with our finance partners, and to be able to work with them, to help the insured, because everybody wants the insured to stay in the positive.
Yeah. And I think going back to helping the end user, the retailer or the MGA, of not having those chargebacks. Are you guys, tackling that as far as, certain agreements or certain, what are you talking about? The finance agreements, you don't do it a certain percent down. Are you only allowing a certain percent down, and how many payments, whether it's 10 payments, 12, 11, what are you doing on that part?
So we're working directly with the broker or MGA to set up what's best for their clients. We're currently working on technology to, have a few options depending on the actual insured versus the whole book, because we know that there's.
Are you typically doing 25% down and 9 or 10 payments, or?
It depends on the line of business, but we're trying to do currently, 15 to 20% down for the trucking industry with, 10 payments. We're working through that. It doesn't fit for every MGA and every broker. We definitely have to do a little bit of underwriting up front to get the specialized terms, but we are getting, industry leading and very competitive rates to the top guys in the industry.
And so you've alluded to this already, but I'm hearing that these companies, Capital, IPFS, or some of the other ones out there, there's 1,000 of them. I don't want to miss anybody, but they're very accepting of what you're doing. Like, they're excited about it. They're not feeling threatened by it or anything. They feel like this is a good thing.
I think the innovators in this space are loving it and moving forward with me. We definitely have some.
I love the way you answer that. Look at you. You practice that answer. There you go. Good for you.
We have had some pushback from definitely some of the bigger finance companies, and I don't blame them. Whenever there's a new technology, it always takes a little bit of time for everybody to see the value of it. But I do believe we're on the right track, and as we grow, we will have everybody on our system, and we want to not just we don't want to be the lending tree of finance companies. We want to be a curated system where if you have finance company relationships, we just turn those on for you, right? We just make sure you can see them all in one place. And if you have no finance company relationships, we want to be able to say, well, for trucking, we really think that these 3 finance companies would be the best opportunities for you and your insurance to get the best rates, the best terms, and the most value out of. So we're not just slapping in marketplace. We're also, really trying to curate the industry.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I'm wondering if in a situation to where there's a premium finance company that hears about this and wants to get involved with you and wants to do that, or right there in the moment, how easy is it to jump onto the Pavo, almost said it wrong, platform? Is there something that, obviously you're going to do your due diligence, but at the same time, if they're in the middle of a situation, they got to bind soon and they want to work with this premium finance company, maybe from a past relationship or whatnot, and they jump on pretty simply? Is it a quick and easy API? I mean, what does it look like?
Yeah, so for the finance companies, our technology, we built out in the beginning, really curating on the softwares that they use. So we're built into the 2 leading softwares of finance companies, Finance Pro and Input One. So therefore, and with tweaking our side, we're able to turn on any finance company once we have a contract and kind of login credentials pretty quickly.
Okay. So I feel like I'm missing something. Is there anything like that we haven't gotten into real quick before I get into any other questions that I have? Is there something else that I'm missing that you wanted to get into or talk about?
Well, I think I want to talk a little bit more about our broker portal. It's
Okay.
a newer, it's our newer, I guess,
Okay.
rocket ship to the sky, where from broker demand, I mean, I had multiple brokers say, I need this. I need a place where I can house all my finance agreements, all my finance relationships, and in one spot. Because like I said earlier, the current technology is to go to each individual finance company
Yeah.
and go in there and you can't remember if, that insured was with, Capital, or that insured was with Agile. Keeping that all in one place is messy. So therefore we created what we call as our portal, where we are literally a housing of all of your financing. We can host payments there if the broker would like to host payments there. We, though, do not touch any money. That is one of my big bonuses, is we are just aggregators of business. So I think that's where our health checks really come into place. We have a digital signature process. It's a one-stop shop for everything financing.
So does that look like, so I'm trying to think of what that would look like. Is that kind of a dashboard kind of situation to where they can go ahead?
Yeah, so we have a dashboard area where you can see your open applications, ones that are out for signature, or you just got quotes, haven't come back to them. We also have, the activated loans, which is in another section where you can see all of your activated loans. And when there's ever, an issue, a late payment, intent to cancel, those are at the top of your dashboard in red. Hey, check on these accounts. And we know we emailed you, we texted you, but hey, when you log in and you're logging in to get new finance quotes, and you're like, oh, that one's red. I need to check on that one. I need to get on that. So our goal is to have full visibility into your financed agreements. Therefore, your insureds stay insured.
So with this dashboard, and most MGAs have multiple underwriters. They have multiple people touching accounts. They have, and a lot of these, like I know my brother works for an MGA, a large one, and, they all kind of work autonomously and they can all kind of make their own decisions there. Mm-hmm. So with any MGA, they might have, I like working with Capital, or this one may like working with this company, or this one may. So I'm guessing that broker portal is going to really help to navigate and see that as well, right? And so you can see.
Yeah, so we have all the data, obviously. We can, if you only want to work with a few finance companies or certain ones, we can obviously route those to you.
Yeah.
People do have certain relationships. I encourage everyone to give everyone a chance, but
sure.
I do understand that people have the relationships and we're not trying to get in the middle of those relationships. We just want to help facilitate more business. So we can do that. We also, have pinpoints of like, you're writing this much with this company, this much with this company, and this much with this company. Here's your commissions back, because we have a revenue share program where we can take in points and then share them out. So there's a lot of different helpfulness on our dashboard. And also for the way our dashboard works is we have multiple user preferences. So you could be an admin and you only see all the accounts. You could say, my admin needs to see, broker A, broker B, and broker C's accounts, but not broker D, E, and F. So we have multiple levels of that to help curate the best dashboard for that client.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, if I'm an underwriter and, for whatever reason, I like working with these three different, premium finance companies, but yet I could see the dashboard, be like, oh, a lot of business has been done with this one that I never worked with before. Can they be able to see that and be able to see what other, like, oh, that's a much better agreement, or that's a much better situation for my client. Maybe I should start using XYZ broker or XYZ premium finance company. You can see that as well. Is that a use case?
Yeah, they can see that and we can see that. And, for us, when we see that, we really want to help kind of curate that. So our goal would never to have one of our partners get 90% of the pie. We want our partners to have an equal chance at this at all times. So I think that would be for both sides, they can see that and they can see like, oh, okay, I see that. I'm getting, I'm writing a lot with Capital today, or I'm writing a lot with Agile today, or Stetson, or any of our number of our partners. And I think on our end, then we would see that and be able to go back and say, hey, like, let's look at this line of business and see where we can help out everybody to continue to get that equal pieces of the pie.
Yeah. And then, when you talked about, some of this stuff you're going on through, and you mentioned in the past wanting to get into AMS systems, which I think would be huge, or CRMs for that matter too.
Yeah.
But that way, if you had that integration, you did have that come up red or whatever you had mentioned earlier, you could get those messages pushed through the AMS system. Because a lot of these, even MGAs now, I work for Vertifor. We have MGA systems that, we own, and it's a big, it's the number one.
Yeah.
It'd be nice if they're working out of that system every day that they could be able to see exactly what you're talking about instead of having to, even though you've spent a lot of time and effort on that broker portal, be able to integrate that in. That would be really cool to be able to have that. So,
and we can.
Do you have a timeline on that, or is that something you've started?
We can today. So,
you can today.
We can today. Our technology allows us, because we also do this with our policy management systems. Our technology allows us today to push through those cancellation prevention technology triggers.
Yeah, the CPT.
CPT.
I may have just coined that for Pavo, but anyway, I think that's cool. There's so much, here. Now, fast forwarding, I just looked up and I was like, holy smokes. When you talk in retention and renewals, do you have a system there? Do you have a workflow there when it comes up for a trucker on year 2 or year 3 of their policy renewal?
Yeah. So just probably like the AMSs, we track in our system. Obviously, we're getting, the effective date and the cancellation date, or we do inception date and execution date in the background, but we keep track of that, and we do notices. We want to let you know, like, hey, we saw that this account's coming up for renewal. Just want to let you know, because with financing, a renewal isn't just like renewing that contract; it's almost like a new one. So, like when you come up for renewal, you could go back and see if there's, different terms here or there or wherever.
Yeah, and so on those renewals or throughout this process, whether it's, in the beginning or at the renewal, a lot of these MGAs, they'll put on their fees, or their broker fees, or their whatever fees. Do you guys have a way you're working with that, or they can work that into the payments, or that's part of?
Definitely.
Walk me through that a little bit.
So within our portal and in our API, we have an ability to add policy fees and broker fees. We even have technology in our system so that if you accidentally put an extra 0 at the end, we kind of, in a state that only allows up to like $250, and you put $2,500, and so you don't get flagged, we flag it and go, oh, hey,
yeah,
that's what you meant here. We really want to help the broker. We know how fast it is. You could be on your phone, you could be on your laptop, you could be typing fast, just trying to get through stuff, and we want to help, minimize multiple back and forth with the finance companies, changing and editing things. So we have that. And there are some fees and taxes that can be financed. There are some that aren't, but then those fees that can't be financed automatically go into the down payment.
And, some of the underwriters I've worked with in the past, and I've talked to my brother about some of these stories of, in order to make a deal happen, they may cut some of their commission, or they may get creative in some of that with the carriers and whatnot. And that's got to be impacted a little bit on the premium financing too, and some of those little things like that, nuances that happen. And you guys, it's within your portals and your things like that, you guys can work in that situation and help in that.
Yeah. So if they're going back to the carrier and, renegotiating rates and terms and things, that definitely is obviously reflected right back to our portal. And because, we're taking total premium. So if they're cutting their commission to cut the premium down, obviously that's going to cut the financing down.
And so you mentioned a lot of different things that you're into besides trucking. What's another line that you guys are working with in a lot of situations, and what do you see in success in right now outside of trucking?
I would say general liability, business BOPs, packages. I would say a big chunk of premium finance is the small businesses that need help on the day-to-day, similar to trucking. We did a huge policy the other day for earthquake. Cannabis is another big market that's coming up.
Yeah.
We can do cannabis. We could do some personal lines. So in California, it's homeowners insurance is insane. And people are being canceled left and right. My neighbor in a small 1,400 square foot home just got quoted $44,000 for their homeowners insurance. So that's unattainable. So
why are you talking about Bridget's house like that? That's crazy.
No.
Put her on. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
But truthfully, we're seeing, and I know Florida has a big issue with this. We're seeing, the E&S space step into the homeowners market, and that is going to be a big push in the premium finance area.
Yeah, and that brings up another good point of so many of these carriers that were really big in this, it was more of a standard market play, whether it was homeowners or in some of these, as you mentioned, general liability or whatever it might have been. Now they're having to decline a lot of this or getting off of some of these risks. So some of the clients that were so used to direct, working with direct markets and working with some of that, they were used to a certain billing cycle. They were used to working directly with the carriers on that. And now they're having a totally different ball game. Are you seeing, some difficulties there and seeing some ways you're able to help in that situation? And how are you guys, able to do that?
Yeah, I think not only can we help by curating some specialized programs, but I think just the knowledge that it's out there. I think unless you are a E&S retail broker, you may never have heard of premium finance.
Yeah.
It's not in your wheelhouse. I mean, Jason will admit to you when he was underwriting for 15 years that he was like, premium what? I thought they could pay their bill.
Exactly.
In the billing department, he was an underwriter. So I think helping to get, knowledge out there about what premium finance is and how it can really put a catalyst to this insurance market. I think in the next 3-4 years, we are going to see way more premium financing. And for what is not typical of these higher dollar amount premiums are now being premium finance. We quoted a $250,000 policy yesterday, right? That's not typically financed. Usually people who have that level of a premium have cash in the bank. These big contractors, they pay it up front. They have the leeway to do that. And now we are starting to see tightening of the belts. And so therefore they are coming to the premium financing space.
So as we wrap up a little bit, Pavo is officially launched. It's off the ground and running. Yep. And if anyone wanted to get in touch with you, or if there's someone listening right now from the MGA side or broker, retail, wherever, where would they find more information? Again, I broke the camera. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. There we go. I'm ugly today. So talk to me about how they could get in touch with you, website, anything like that.
So we have our website at www.pavoinsure.com. There we have a ton of information. We also have access to our broker portal there. So you can go directly there and click the Access Broker Portal link. If you are not already signed up with us, we have a sign up process, very quick and easy. It's a couple of, informational points, upload your E&O, and within 24 hours, we can approve you with our finance partners in order to start writing business in our portal.
And so you guys are, you have different finance companies to stretch across the United States?
Yep. We work with all 50 states.
Okay.
And like I said, with over 100 different lines of insurance.
Awesome. And so they could get in touch with you, or who they get in touch with you? Like who would be the person they would contact?
We're a small startup. So it's Bridget and I are still answering the phones and the emails. So you'll get to talk to us. And we're happy to give a demo any day of the week, anytime. And you can also request more information on our website. You can email hello@pavoinsure.com and we could get back to you ASAP. You can also find Bridget and I on LinkedIn, Katie Wexler and Bridget Zoller. We are always on LinkedIn out there. We love to talk to everybody.
And Jason's involved in this project as well?
Yes, he's our lead advisor. But
Okay.
yeah, he's definitely involved, but he's also kind of like taking the kid gloves off and said, "Oh, I want to see you soar." I
That's
also
awesome.
we are involved in the Scout InsurTech conference coming up, so that's a big one
Okay.
in Cincinnati or Cleveland. Cleveland. It's in Cleveland. We're going to be there. Um, we'll be at ITC this year, and Bridget wrote Tennessee Trucking Conference. We'll be there as well. For the Reliance Group Tennessee Trucking Conference, we'll be walking around smiling.
There you
So
go.
yeah, we're out there, we're live. We love for everybody to come check us out and give us a shot to help you with all your financing needs.
Fantastic. Look at you. I think you did a great job. For those that don't know, she was telling me she was nervous, but send her an email or a text or something or whatever. Tell her she did great on LinkedIn. I think you did an awesome job.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what Pavo can do and what the future for Pavo is. Again, last opportunity. Is there anything that I missed? I know there's a lot going on, and I wanted to make sure I got it all in. Did we get everything in that we wanted to?
I think so. And I think also
Okay.
we are, like I said earlier, we're malleable and we like
You had to use that word again. You just want to confuse me. Oh my
we're
gosh.
very fluid. So therefore, if anybody has any suggestions, comments, concerns, or like we hate your product, we'd love to know. We want to know, and we want to build broker facing technology, broker enhancing technology. That is the future of this industry. Is brokers have the hardest job out there today. Truthfully,
Yeah.
they have the hardest job out there, and I recognize that. And all I want to do is make sure that their life is simple, easy, and with a click of a button, their insureds are happy and on their way, and they get to the next bind.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I didn't want to wrap it. I was trying to figure out ways not to, but I guess I have to. So again, thank you so much for hanging out with me. And I hope that you get a whole bunch of phone calls and emails and whatever else, because I think what you're doing is super cool.
Thank you. And thank you for having me on my first live podcast.
Yeah.
I'm excited to do some more of these. These are fun.
And there you go. I'll try to introduce you to some buddies.